There we go. Hello again, everybody. Hello, Patriot. Welcome to the channel. I see you're working on your second French division. Sweet, sweet, sweet. I'm assuming that's the second French division in the Napoleonics. First Corps and all that. Under D'Arleron. So, or it could be a second French division, World War II. I don't know. All right, so we're going to give people a little bit of a chance to get in. This is not a normal day that I would stream. So if you have announcements, notifications turned on, hopefully you get notifications. Let me turn this down. It looks like it might be peaking. Boop, boop, boop. How's the audio? Is the audio pretty good? Is it too loud, too soft? Just let me know. If anything changes, just let me know. Okay, I have like 100 things that I want to talk about. Okay, this is like right in the way. Okay, so let's see if I can't adjust this. Okay, so that's out of the way, but it might change how the audio comes across. So we'll get over it. Okay, so I have like a million things that I want to discuss, but it's not something that I want necessarily to talk about live with you guys. It could be just announcements or updates or things like that. And I have this entire weekend to myself. My son is with me, but he'll be in and out going to work. He's not here right now. Yummy. My wife is out of the house. She and I were in this medieval reenactment group, and I've pretty much gotten away from that whole gang of people. That there's a lot of people in that group that I love dearly, but there's and then there's a group that I like, of course, but then there's some people there that for whatever reason, I don't know what their beef is with me or whatever, but they have a beef with me. And I don't have a beef with anybody, but they had a beef with me, and it made it uncomfortable for me to go to these events because if any of these people were there, they would harass me, and I'm not going to subjugate myself to harassment, and there's no way. I mean, I could beat them senseless in the alleyway and tell them not to harass me anymore, but then it would give them reason to hate me, you know? So I don't know what their beef with me was. I have a feeling it's like a test to see if I, have the fortitude or whatever to progress in that group or whatever. There's a lot of politicking going on in that group. I mean, a lot. And there's a lot of underhanded manipulation and stuff like that, which I tried to avoid all that. And that's probably why they don't like me, because I avoid all that. But I had a really good time. I've been in that organization for like 20 years. I mean, I had been, when did I join that group? Probably in like 95? No, it'd be before that. 85, 82, 83. Around 83, I joined this group, and I met my wife in 90, So by then I had only been in the group for about 7 years. Okay, really, I'm now that I'm looking back on it, but still, I was in for quite a while. I introduced her into it. She fell in love with it, as I did, and we would go to events. I would fight in the combat, medieval style, sword and shield, full armor, banging on people as hard as I can, that kind of stuff. Uh, and all we, I, we enjoyed it together for a long time. And uh, around 2010, 2010, approximately 2010. So this would be almost 30 years of me participating in this. This small group started to harass me for whatever reason. I don't understand it. I went through many friends, made many friends, made a ton of acquaintances, loved the organization. I love to get out there and fight. It's fun. The the But this one group made it unbearable. Like, I would go to an event and they would just get all over me. And I tried to tell them, like, why are you doing this? Stay away from me. But they wouldn't. And there's no, like, law enforcement. There's no, like, because think of it like a club, and there's like this clique, and then they would just always harass me. I mean, I can bitch about it. I could tell the club president, the seneschals or the king and queen even, but it didn't stop. And so I said, instead of paying like $20 a weekend to go participate in these events, I have another friend who is not part of this group, and I mentioned it. I talked to him about it because he's a friend, and he just came back to me and laid it out like clearly. And the way he used an analogy, actually. He said, "Why do you pay someone to rake you over the coals? Keep your money, spend it on something that you enjoy doing, like miniature wargaming or whatever, and uh, and let them be children. Let them be their best selves or whatever. Just leave them alone. Just don't participate anymore." And so I stopped participating, but my wife has not. She continues to go to these events, and uh, and that's what's going on this weekend. So she went, and she's been cooking for the last 2 weeks, preparing food every night, and then freezing it, like making it, freezing it, and making all kinds of food. And then she packed it all up in the van and left about an hour ago, maybe 2 hours ago. And so she'll be gone until Sunday. So I've got the entire house to myself. I can make a mess and destroy my shelves and stuff, which I'm not going to do. But so basically, that's going to give me opportunities to film a bunch of videos that I wanted to film. Like, I wanted to do an update for my 15 millimeter Napoleonics. I wanted to do an overview of all the miniatures that I've done so far. And then I wanted to do an overview of the rules that I've worked out so far. And then that way, and that'll be good for like the 1st of October. So that'd be like a good month beginning thing. And I'm probably going to work on that tonight, film it, record it, edit it, upload it. But that's also going to give me an opportunity to play some computer games that I haven't really been playing because there's been people wandering around in the house, and I have to schedule my computer gaming because I like to record it and show it to people. I have to schedule it around other people's schedules. So there's one, IL-2 Stormovic. I plan to play quite a bit of that. And then there's also, I've been playing XCOM 2, but using a bunch of Mass Effect mods. I plan to play that quite a bit. I already have a couple of those videos. I already did that last night. I've got a couple of videos in the can, as you would, to upload later. Okay, so a couple of days ago, I ran into a problem with my miniature wargaming. Okay, first of all, this is the 92nd and the 93rd regiments, 1st and 2nd Battalion of each, for my Quatre Bras battle. This is one of the brigades from Foy's division, 9th Division. And so really I just need to texture these, and I'm going to do that on camera. I'm going to texture these. I'm going to put the grass on them. And I have a hard time doing things and talking about things that aren't related to the things that I'm doing. So I'm going to hold off on talking about that until I start working on that. This is my favorite paintbrush set. This is okay. I can already tell my autofocus is still turned on, but that's fine. I'm just going to keep an eye on it. These guys, this is Transon. Okay, Transon art brushes. I just bought a new set. I've had these for probably a long time. Not incredibly long. Not as long as I've had this Warhammer brush, but 8 months, maybe a year. No, wait, yeah, maybe about a year. I've had these brushes, and you can't really see because my fat head's in the way, but you can see I've got a set of them right here. I bought a set of these, and I've been keeping them clean. I've been every month I'll use brush soap on them, and I'll use some warm water to clean. And so basically, I'll do that with a bunch of these other brushes as well. But ever since I've discovered these Transon brushes, I pretty much haven't been using anything else. These brushes, and I'm looking at my set. I don't think I bought this set the first time. I got the packaging around here somewhere. Yeah, this is the set that I bought first, and I can already tell they're not the same set. And these are not the brushes you get in the set. Yeah, it's just the same picture on. Same card in both of them. But this was like a 5 brush set or a 7 brush set. Yeah, this was a 7 brush set. And this is a 10 brush set. But I bought this thinking it was the same one, but it's not, because I noticed there's a couple of brushes. There's a couple of brushes in here that I don't have, like this one right here. It's the tip is flat, which is going to be good for doing my wet brushing, but like this one, I don't think will tell me the different sizes. But anyway, the smallest brush is a 5.0, and you get a couple of them. You get like 2 5.0s, 2 3.0s, and then you get a 2.0, and then an O, a 1, a 2, and whatever brush that is, So, and I normally paint with, especially on the bigger figures, like 28mm figures, or tanks or whatever, I'll use the 2, not a 2.0. I'll use a 2. And what's really good about the 2 out of the Transons, it comes to a super fine tip. I could probably paint my 15mm with the 2, but I don't. I tend to use the 1 or the 0. I don't even get into the 5.0 or the the 3.0 unless I'm doing collars. The collars and maybe the straps on their shoulders or the back of their packs or something. It would have to be a really thin line for me to break out the 5 or the 3. I'm usually using the bigger brushes, 2s, 1s, 0s. Okay. Next piece of information. So I got those in. I wanted to do a video kind of showing how good those brushes are. I don't know if I'll be able to do that, but I was thinking about it. My glasses. Okay, as you might or might not know, okay, let me stop just for a second and take a look at this chat because I see a couple new ones. 19 Delta. Okay. Yeah. Cab Scout, right? Okay. So, yeah, cool. Is that armored or air cab, you know? Because I think we have both. I don't even know anymore. Levin Bravo here. Okay, oh, Patriot. Okay, talking about that. Um, I hope there is. I hope she's. There was a time when I was not jealous. Let's not say that. I've never been jealous of her. Um, because if I because how do I word this? I don't want to be the first one to throw a stone, if you know what I'm talking about. But what I am upset about is, and I mentioned this to her once, a few years back, and I've got quite a few stories about this because of some interactions we've had. But I told her that I asked her. I said, "Why are you going to these events, knowing that I can't go because there's people there that make it unbearable for me?" And so what I wanted was for her to at least address it and maybe have a talk with these people or stop going herself. But what her response was is, "Do you want me to stop?" is what she said. And I wasn't going to tell her to stop. I wanted her to want to stop on her own. I wanted her to show me what she thinks. And I said, and I told her when she asked me that, I told her, I don't want to tell you what to do. I want you to decide if you want to stop. And then she continued to go, which told me everything I needed to know. And ever since that point, me and her have been kind of roommates. And I've treated her like someone that helps out with the bills. We don't have any kind of romantic connection anymore. It was like someone took an axe to us and chopped. So we're good friends. She does her thing. I do my thing. We hang out in the same house. That's pretty much it. So, speaking of your hen house, if she has found someone, that's good. I'm happy for her. Go on, do your thing. Because if I did, I would do my thing. I know that's horrible to say, but that's the way it is. Okay. We'll get to this here in just a second. More chat. Okay. 93rd. Yep. I'm doing Waterloo since 2019. Okay. Yeah. We only have ground scouts. No cab scouts. Okay. No, I mean no air scouts. Right. So you would be like on the motorcycles or Humvees or on foot or dune buggies. I don't even know what they use nowadays. I got out. The last day I was in was 95. In one of my first units, we still had people that had fought in Vietnam. I know. I look back on it. I'm like, okay, I had guys in my formation that were veterans of Vietnam. Looking back on it, I'm like, wow, I'm older. I'm old as dirt, but that's all right. Oh my gosh. We didn't even have M4s. We had M16s. Okay. Okay. So as you know, this is the part I was getting at. As you know, I have these Coke bottle glasses that I use when I paint, and I broke them a couple of nights ago. I took them off. I laid them down, and I guess this hinge just going up and down 100 million times broke on this side. There's probably a way I could jury rig it where put a little glue, put a little tape, just as long as I don't put any tape around here, I won't look like a nerd, right? But it doesn't matter. I only use it for painting. Or I could just bust them both off and just make like a little nose clip. No, I don't know. But so it's been hard and I haven't really put any effort into fixing this. It looks like there's metal that would clamp around. There's still this little pin sticking up that folds. So the hinge is still intact and it still has this little pin. It's just that this part here, it looks like it has like something that clamps around it and maybe it just came loose. So I should be able to probably jury rig this. A little bit of glue, a little bit of needle nose, pinching it and maybe putting some tape on it and forcing it to just stay open all the time. That should be fine, right? Should be fine. You can see I went ahead and bought another pair of glasses. So these are going to I am going to try to fix them. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. Maybe I'll just store them somewhere out of the way. Right? I'm going to put these over here, out of the way. So, yesterday, my son's trying to get his computer to work. He's upgrading it. He went with an i9 and a brand new Aorus gigabyte motherboard. He put it in his computer, and it wouldn't recognize the CPU. So we took the CPU out. We cleaned the pins, everything. Made sure there was no dust or anything in there. And then we noticed that a couple of the pins were kind of like not straight up and down. So he replaced the motherboard, and we also replaced the i9 because we weren't sure at the time which one it was. So he got another processor, which I think is an i7 this time. So saved some money. But it's 10th generation. Put the CPU in, powered it up, everything powers up. It just wouldn't identify Windows. And we went step by step trying to figure out exactly how to get this thing to work. And then eventually we racked our brains and we couldn't figure out what was going on. So he went and bought a new hard drive, an NVMe for on the motherboard. And he also bought Windows 11 brand new in the box. So came back, went to install Windows 11. It said that the system requirements did not meet the minimum requirements for Windows 11. Wow. Okay. Well, we found out it was something simple. We racked our brains the entire time and we couldn't figure it out. It was something simple. On the motherboard, you had to enable some kind of security setting, and as soon as he did, Windows 11 installed, everything's good. Okay. So I thought it was a fairly competent computer repairman, but apparently Windows 11 has this special thing where your motherboard has to enable a security feature or it won't be allowed to install, which might explain why my personal computer, the one I'm streaming on right now, is a fairly powerful. It's a ninth generation i7. It should accommodate Windows 11. Plus, I got a good graphics card. I mean, it's not something to write home about. It's a 1070, but it's still pretty good. And when I go to my Windows updates, it does say this system is not compatible with Windows 11. So I bet you it's because my motherboard doesn't have that security feature enabled, which I'm not worried about it. I'll chug along with Windows 10 because I'm happy with it. Okay, you're talking about 93rd. We only have ground scout. Okay, balance your hobby with life. Exactly. Bradley fighting vehicles. Oh my goodness, Bradleys. Yeah. I had an opportunity to drive a M113. I had an opportunity to drive a Leopard tank. A Leopard, at the time it was probably a Leopard 1. I mean, I'm infantry, so I don't really drive tanks, you know. So, but I knew what a Leopard was because of Wargaming, you know. But it was probably a Leopard 1. It was probably Leopard 1. Leopard 2s, I think, were just starting to come out. The Abrams was just starting to come out. We had units with M60s. I think it was M60 A3s in the area. And when I saw an Abrams, I was like, "Oh, what the hell is that?" You know. And I never seen a Bradley up close. I've seen them in videos. I've had miniatures of them, but I've actually never laid eyes on a Bradley. It is the French 93rd. No, I wasn't a leg. Yeah, I was. Little history. Okay. Let me give you a little history. So, I'm in high school. I had a really good friend. If you could like put friends on levels, like how much of a friend they were, I would say he's about a 7, because my 9s and 10s were all in my D&D group. They were all in my squad leader, fan club, miniature wargaming, role-playing games. That was my 9 and 10 group, right? We loved all the same things. But I also had friends, they weren't close friends. They were just, acquaintances. We hung out. We did things, played ball, whatever. I would say he was one of those. And so I'd give him about a 7. So we're in high school, and it's pretty close to graduation. I mean, I don't even remember. A couple months out, and he's like, man, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to join the Army. I want to join the Army. And I told him, I was thinking about doing the same thing, because I come from a military family, and I was really kind of looking at joining the Army, but I didn't really have any idea what I wanted to do. So he said that he wanted to be an airborne ranger, right? He goes, I want to be a ranger. And I'm like, I don't even know what that is, So I go to the recruiter. We take the, the GT test and the ASVAB or whatever it is. And I score something like a 127, I think was my GT score. And he says, you can pick any job in the Army. You can do whatever you want, because you meet the minimum requirement for every job. What do you want to do? You want to be, you want to be a rocket scientist or whatever, I'm exaggerating. But computer tech or whatever, what do you want to be? And I said, I want to be an airborne ranger. Like an idiot. And he's like, okay, let's take a look. He gets on his, on his abacus, and he checks, and he says, okay, we don't have any airborne ranger slots, and I said, okay, what's the next best thing? And he goes, well, there's airborne, airborne infantry. And I was like, okay, what's that all about, right? And he tells me what it's about. And I'm like, oh, okay, that sounds even better. That's, I would rather do that than be an airborne ranger, because I was pain adverse. But I still want to be airborne. And he's like, okay, but you could be an airborne car mechanic or whatever, a Jeep mechanic or whatever. You don't have to be infantry. And I was like, nope. I want to be infantry, right? And this is me going off of all the Hollywood videos, the what do you call the word? Where they make it seem glamorous and all that. I'm like, okay, that's what I want to do. And so, I want to be a paratrooper, and he says, okay. So he looks for paratroopers, no slots. And I said, okay, we're done. I'm out of here. I don't want to join the Army. Screw you guys, right? If you're not going to give me what I want, I'm out. And he's like, okay. So I go home. It's like, and I remember this vividly. Like 2 weeks later, he calls me and says, we got an opening for airborne infantry. There's only 2 slots, and I can fit you into, because I guess he kept me on a waiting list or whatever. He goes, I can fit you into one of these 2 slots. One is in Alaska and one is in Italy. And I was like, well, that's a no-brainer. I've already lived in Alaska. Let's go ahead, because my dad was in the Coast Guard and we had lived in Alaska. I said, sign me up for Italy. That sounds cool. So I was assigned to the 509th, if you remember them guys. The 509th has the gingerbread man in the door, Geronimo, and they have the Pax Lion, which is the CTAF, I think is the word it's called, the CTAF patch. But either way, I'm like, okay, cool. So I go through jump school, and then I get assigned to Italy. The General Dozier, if you can remember that. The day I got there, or a couple of days before I got there, whatever, before I in-processed, General Dozier was kidnapped by a terrorist organization, and all the bases in the area were on high alert. And so when I got there, I had a tumultuous entry into the real Army, because I don't consider basic training, AIT, jump school, the real Army. That's all school. So, and it was in the U.S., So when I get to Italy, They hand me a rifle. They hand me a magazine with ammunition, and I don't even get to put my gear down. You know, I don't get to put my bag in the. I don't get a room. I don't get a foot locker or a wall locker or whatever. We had wall lockers. I don't get anything. They just say, take this rifle, sign for it. Take this ammo, sign for it, and go stand on the top of the jump tower. And I was like, what the hell is going on? He says, you know, and then they basically, I'm exaggerating a little bit because I had a NCO, and the NCO, you know, basically said, and his name, his last name was Sergeant. So I called him, his Sergeant. It was funny. But he assigned me with this other guy. We were basically to pull guard. And his orders to me were, keep your eyes on this fence, because this is a very small outpost. It was a caserma. They call it Caserma Ederle. I don't know if you're familiar with this location, but it had a battalion of infantry, a hospital, and some support elements, and that was it. And our rec center was called the Olympic Rec Center, the ORC, the ORC. I don't know. There's just things about it that was just funny, but he said, if anybody comes over that fence, I don't care who they are. Don't holler at them. Don't tell them to stop climbing the fence. Just shoot to kill. That was my first official order in the Army. I was like, whoa, okay, damn. They're taking this seriously. And I had live ammo. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, so I was paratrooper. And then when I left Italy, I came to Fort Campbell, Kentucky, and the guys at in processing saw that I had jump wings, and he said, would you like to stay on jump status? And I was like, hell yeah, I want to stay on jump status. It's extra money and stuff like that, and I enjoy jumping out of airplanes. And he says, okay, well, we have a company that's on jump status. Would you like to be in that company? Because most of the 101st was not on jump status. The 101st, even though they have airborne, that's old. They're air assault. They're helicopter-borne, repelling, you know, that kind of stuff. And I was like, okay, I'll do it. And then they assigned me to the Pathfinder unit. And I'm like, I don't know what a Pathfinder is. You know, I'm still young. I'm like 20 years old. I don't know anything about the Army. I'm an idiot. You know, I came to Fort Campbell as a specialist, you know. I'm like, I don't know what a Pathfinder is. So, but I know it was on jump status, and I know it's still infantry. It's because that's my MOS. So they put me in the Pathfinder unit, and I learned quickly what a Pathfinder was. And that was the unit that I was talking about that had the veteran from Vietnam. But as a Pathfinder, I learned a lot. My military acumen, you know, my grasp of what the military was and how units interact with each other. And because I was a liaison basically, because I had to communicate with aviation and infantry units and artillery units and every other type of unit to get them from point A to point B safely. I had to jump in behind enemy lines, locate the enemy, avoid the enemy, find suitable landing zones and drop zones and all that. And so I learned quite a bit about scouting. I learned, you know, so when you said you were 19 Delta, it's like, oh, cool. You know, because, I mean, we didn't work hand in hand, but we had similar jobs. Not, you know, they didn't completely overlap, but I get you. that whole time that I was a Pathfinder, first of all, you can't be in the Pathfinder unit and not be an NCO. That's like unheard of. You have to be a minimum of an E5 to be in the Pathfinder unit. And there I am standing there in formation as a specialist. So they put me through PNOC like super quickly. And at that time, PNOC at Fort Campbell was not just it was 2 schools in one. It was also Recondo School, and you got to wear like a little arrowhead patch, if I remember right, because you went through Recondo School, which is also part of PNOC, and then like within a month of me getting to the unit, I got promoted. You know, I had to go through the board and all that crap. You know, and then studying for the board was not, you know, I really didn't, I learned quite a bit about the history of the military and stuff like that, because I honestly think I was kind of clueless, you know, at the time. I don't think I was really, I just did I kept my head down, did my job, and didn't really pay attention, you know, followed orders, you know, that kind of stuff. But then when I became a Pathfinder, everything kind of changed, because now you had to go out in 2-man teams, and you had to be self-sufficient, and you had to communicate with all these different units, and yeah, it was a learning experience. Okay, and here I am, not doing what I wanted to do. I've decided to use brown earth on these guys, mainly because my brigades, I'm kind of alternating either dark earth or brown earth, mainly to kind of make them easier to identify on the table, you know, as being in a unit. It doesn't really matter, but it just helps, I think. And really, I'm only using brown earth and dark earth. It just gives a little variety. Okay, so I'm putting these glasses on, which are only 3.0s. And I noticed that I went and bought the whole gigabyte processor thing. We went out to get that hard drive, that NVMe hard drive, and the Windows. And when we were out, I said, "Hey, let's stop and get some glasses so that I can do some work." And we did. And the strongest they had was 3s. That's what these are. So I'm going to work with these 3s today, and hopefully that will work. And I already know it's not going to work. I already know this, because I'm sitting here and like this where it says acrylics Vallejo, I can read that no problem right here. But if I went like this, it's blurry. That's a focus. And this is too far for me to paint. That's probably over 12 inches of, and that's, I want it to be right about here. Yeah, I want it to be right about here where I can paint, not at arm's length. And that's what these 3.0s. The 4.0s that I have, I can paint right there. I can paint up close. So, like a brainiac, I went to Amazon, right? And I went to see what kind of glasses they had. They got a large variety of glasses. That's not where I ordered my 4.0s. I ordered them from an actual glasses company like many years ago. But I said, you know what? I'm going to order a 4, a 4.5, and a 5. So I ordered 3 pair of glasses. And they should all be here tomorrow. Okay. I've got this stack of wood that I need to do something to. But I'm going to do that while this is drying. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is I'm using this color, this Vallejo Mecha color. It's called Old Gold. Um, this this is real. I think it's an airbrush color. Honestly, I think it's kind of thin. Uh, it doesn't say that anywhere on it. It just says it's a watercolor acrylic. It just seems to be very thin, but I like it for the edging of the gold along the edges of the French flags, or any Napoleonic flag that has like gold edging. The old gold is really good. Okay, this is probably too fine of a point. And when you cut white paper and you glue them together, even if you have it perfectly aligned, you will still get a white seam. Basically, it's the edge of the paper. Now, I've seen other people will cut the paper fit it together and everything, and then they will paint the edge of the paper before they glue it together, which I considered that as being being kind of smart, actually. But it never turned out very well for me. So I stopped doing that. I tried it a few times. I said, okay, that sounds smart. But it just, because you can see there's white right there, right? Okay. Now, the English flags, some of them have the gold around them, but very few. Most of them, the Union Jack specifically, goes the blue, the red, the white, go all the way up to the edge of the flag. And so when I paint the white edge, I don't have to paint the white part, but the blue and the red parts, you got to be kind of, see, and then that fixes the white. Now, there was a time many years ago, maybe 5 years ago, I would use a black magic marker and I would just draw the outer edge of the flags, because I used to do paper miniatures. Ooh, I still need to spray these. Okay, that's okay. With a dull coat. But I'll do that after I get the grass and everything on there. I would make these paper miniatures where you would, print out these miniatures, glue them on some cardstock, and then if there was any white paper edges, I would, or buildings even, because I made some cardboard buildings, and sometimes when you score them and then fold them or whatever, you get the white paper on the inside showing. So I just took a black magic marker. Okay, that one went on really well. And it looks really good. But when it comes to flags, I found that black outer edge actually doesn't look good. It kind of makes the flag look too dark, or the edge burnt or something. And it's also too easy to make a mistake with a magic marker. The ink will bleed into your flag. So I've stopped doing that. And that's just another example of how my model building, painting evolves. You see other people doing things, you try it, you like it or you don't. You know? That's how you learn. Okay. But yeah, for the last couple of years now, I've been using this old gold. And that's really the only thing I use this for. I don't use it for anything else other than flag edges. And one of the reasons why is this old gold matches perfectly with GMB gold edging on their GMB flags. I don't know, it's perfect. Okay. Okay, now this thing's almost all the way out. It's probably down this far. But that's okay, because I've got another one of these. I don't know, maybe I've got 2 more of these. I don't even know. Yeah, you can see how far down it is. It's almost all the way up. And okay. It's a little thick, but that's okay. Which brush? I think that's too big. Okay, give me a second. I'm going to reach around the camera. Okay, I bought these brushes on Amazon. Right here, this 50-piece value pack. A long time ago. And I've probably used like 5 of them. These are 00 paintbrushes. One happy choice. This whole bag of 50 paintbrushes probably cost me like $1. I mean, it was cheap. I'm exaggerating, but maybe $5. I don't even think it was that much. They have a super fine tip point. The problem with them, it doesn't last. You know, use it once, twice, 3 times, boom, the brush is gone. You don't get to use it anymore. But for applying texture, I'll use it once and then just throw it away. It's a disposable brush. Yeah, these 3.0 glasses are just not good enough. Look at me, I've got a... Look how far out I'm holding this. I'm holding it like a mile away. It's kind of dark in there, so I don't know if I'm going in deep enough to get texture. That's what she said. Okay, sorry. Yeah, I'm a that's what she said kind of guy. Okay. So, computer games. I do quite a bit of that. There's this game that, whoa, I went too deep. But I don't care because I'm going to be throwing this away. I don't care if it gets on the flume. I'm going to be throwing this brush in the garbage. Because this brush is probably Not even 10 cents. Maybe 10 cents. And it's working really well, actually. I've been using the tester's brushes and then cleaning them afterwards. But the testers don't have the same kind of point that this has. Okay, I think I'm going to be using this brush more often for applying texture on 15 millimeters. On 28 millimeters or whatever, I'll still use the testers. Yeah. I mean, I think I did good. Now, I've got these marked on the bottom, like what battalion and what division they are, so that I can mix them up or whatever. It won't matter because I can organize them afterwards. So the 92nd and the 93rd, the big difference that I noticed between these two regiments was their aerial company. Yeah, I say aerial. The Voltigeurs, the light company, the elites, their pom-poms. They were the second is the one I'm working with. They had yellow and green pom-poms, but the yellow was on the bottom part and the green was the tip. Where on the 93rd, it's reversed. It's green and yellow, but the yellow is on the tip. Yep, that's right. But other than that, I mean, they're just basically French, and they all have pretty much the same uniform across the board. At this time, at Waterloo, it's almost all greatcoats. But not everybody's in a greatcoat. Some people still have, their greatcoats rolled up on their backpacks or slung around a shoulder or something like that. Okay, so talking about painting these guys. I actually organized them into 4 battalions, right? Put them on popsicle sticks per company. But then I kind of realized that I made a mistake. Not a mistake. I made a, what's the word? I made a call, I guess, that I wanted to do it a little bit differently. So I primed each battalion with a different color primer, right? And the primer color is their greatcoat color. So some tans, some greens, some grays, is a little bit of variety. So there's 4 different greatcoat colors. Oh, I put my knife up there too. Okay. And you can kind of see the colors right there. Like, that was one of them. That was one of the greatcoat colors. That was one of them. I'm going to lay them down here so you can see them. That was one of them, kind of a taupe. And this was the last one. This is another color. So you can see that there are 3 different, or 4, I keep saying 3, 4 different greatcoat colors that I primed those guys. And then when I went to paint them, I made the conscious decision that I was going to kind of randomize the units. I wasn't going to make one battalion all the same greatcoat. I was going to use a gray, use the taupe, use the tan, use the khaki, all on different, intermix them, right? So when I went to paint those pom-poms that I'm talking about, I kind of did a 2 and 2 on the stick, like 2 from the 92nd and 2 from the 93rd. And then I did it again on the next popsicle stick and the next. And then when I went to paint the blue center company, I only painted one of the figures with blue. And then I continued on down. And so every popsicle stick had a variety of different center companies or whatever. And then I popped them all off of their popsicle sticks one at a time, a little bit at a time, organizing them into their battalions randomly. So as I pulled them off, I would put them, like, okay, hypothetically, let's say I had a gray popsicle stick, right? And I have 4 figures on that popsicle stick. I would pull those 4 figures out, but I would put them in 4 battalions. So that stick got spread out amongst all the battalions. Then I would go to the taupe, dark taupe stick, and then I would do the same thing. And then I would go to the khaki stick, and I would do the same thing. So basically, every one of these battalions have a variety of greatcoat colors. They're not all the same. Now, there is an argument to be made for wargaming, not specifically for reality or for history's sake or whatever, but strictly for wargaming, to make your battalion all the same, so that when you're looking at it on the table, you can identify that as a battalion. Well, you're only doing 24, or me, I'm only doing 24 figures, so that's not even the same number of figures that would be in a company, same number of men, that would be in a company. So that would work. That would look right on the table. But in my mind, I know that I didn't want to do that. That's why I used to do this. I used to take one of the center company's pom-pom colors. This is when I used to play Napoleon's battles, because you're playing as, or each maneuver element is a brigade, so it's hard to really paint each individual figure with a different pom-pom color, because in that game a single figure represents a company, right? So you could technically, on a 4-figure stand, count that as 4 different center companies. But I didn't. What I did with Napoleon's battles was I painted the entire brigade with the same pom-pom color. It just helped identify like what brigade that stand was part of, and it kept organization a lot easier. But when I went to a battalion scale like this, and each of these stands represents a company, I decided to go with, like, this is all Grenadiers, you know, and that way, this is the Grenadier Company, you know, that kind of stuff. This is the Orange Pom Pom Company. I don't remember which company that is, but I also, now I could have, you know, if you got multiple battalions in your regiment, each battalion could be a different pom pom company color. You know, I think both ways work. I think both ways are fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, this whole battalion would be the blue pom poms, or this whole battalion would be the violet pom poms, or whatever. But I decided to make each stand have its own company pom pom color. That is the name of that tune. So yeah, so back to the greatcoats. So that means I probably could have kept all the same color greatcoats on a stand. But my understanding is that there was no uniformity to the color of the greatcoats. My understanding is they had what they had. You know, they took what they could get, that kind of stuff. Some of them were their personal belongings, like their pants and stuff like that. It's not all, it wasn't very uniform, is what I'm trying to say. Some of the guys didn't even have the blue coats. They only had the great coats. And the gray coat that they brought with them. So I decided to mix it up. I shuffled them around a little bit. Okay, this is going a lot better than I thought. I love this brush for this purpose. My 28 millimeter Quatre Bras miniatures, I painted every unit for Quatre Bras in 28 millimeter. Black powder, right? So 24 figure infantry battalions, 12 figure cavalry regiments, what have you. So I had everything painted. Artillery, generals, battalions, and I've been selling them for the last few months on eBay, and I'm down to the last 5 battalions. Once they're sold, they'll be gone. Does that mean I'll not paint some more? No, I'll probably paint some more 28 millimeter. I have a ton of 28 millimeter figures, unpainted. So I'll probably paint them up, post them. I'm thinking about painting up some non-Quatre Bras figures, like maybe some Russians, maybe some Prussians, maybe some Austrians. I bought some Austrians a while back with the intent of painting them up for the store. But if you know anything about my store, what I tend to do is get a bunch of miniatures in, and then with the intent of eventually painting them. But until I paint them, I will list them as brand new in the box, on the store. And then when I get around to painting them, I will close them out of the store as no longer available, and then paint them, and then repost them as painted figures. But from time to time, more often than not actually, I will post some boxes and they will sell before I've had a chance to paint them. Which is good, because then I can just turn around and reorder that box if I need to. And that customer got what he wanted, so everything's good, because he probably likes to paint himself. Doesn't want to buy painted figures. And I normally don't buy painted figures either, because guess what? That's what I do. I paint. But there's a lot of people out there that either don't have the time to paint, or they don't have the skill. They don't have the materials. Maybe they don't have a bunch of paintbrushes. Maybe they just never been shown how to do it. So they just don't know how to do it. Don't want to mess it up or something like that. And that's where a lot of my customers come from. Don't have time, don't have skill. It's got to be one of those. Don't have the materials. Dun, dun, dun. Another box. All right. So, another thing. Normally... Okay, before I get into this next topic, let's see if there's a bunch of chats. Okay. Oh, 1996. I was on Sand Hill. You said Kelly Hill, and I'm like, that sounds familiar. 1/18th. I don't remember what my... I wanted to say I was in the 1/18th, but maybe I wasn't. Maybe I was in something else. Yeah, I was at Benning, as you know. But I was in Benning actually twice. Well, not counting Pathfinder School. I was there in 81 when I first joined the Army. Went through basic and AIT. We actually ran in boots, not tennis shoes. Yeah. I had a drill instructor there. He called people dick breath. And it wasn't just dick breath, it was dick breath. And it was... I thought it was funny. I wasn't offended, You could... I thought, I get the idea. I understand what he was trying to say and do or whatever, you could say that, whatever. I don't take offense to that kind of stuff. I understand what he was trying to do, but today, I bet you there's those guys out there like, he called me dick breath. I'm gonna have to show my stress card. Tell him to stop. I'm so ashamed of the Army nowadays. Not everybody, just some people. Oh, I gotta talk about this. You were in the Army. You would you might appreciate this. Okay, so I'm stationed in Berlin, right? In the 90s. I'm in Berlin. I got out before you got in. I left actually in 95 and you came in 96. So we crossed paths. You know, we weren't in it at the same time. But I was in Berlin in the 90s before it closed, before the Berlin Brigade closed down. I was actually there when it closed down. Who was it? Clinton. Clinton came to close the base down and everything. Got to shake his hand and all that. But while I was there, for about 2 months, I was in the scout platoon. But then they were getting to one of the companies. I think it was Alpha Company. I'm having a hard time remembering. That was so long ago. But one of the companies was getting deployed to Macedonia as UN observers. And I got attached to them to go. Okay, so here comes the story. There was an NCO in that company. Don't remember his name. I really wish I did remember his name so that I could put him on blast. I might actually have a yearbook, but you know what? One of those little yearbooks, it wouldn't have his name. And I'll tell you why. So, he's an NCO in this company that I'm attached to going down to Yugoslavia. What do you call it? The former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia. That's what they called it. Because they didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings from Yugoslavia, because Macedonia was basically separating from Yugoslavia. They were forming their own independent state, and that was one reason why we had to go as UN advisors to watch, you know, this and to monitor this transition of government and all that jazz. So we're being issued like live ammunition and getting our helmets painted blue and, you know, doing all that UN-y stuff. And, you know, we're being issued blue baseball caps and, you know, which I think I might even still have my UN patch somewhere around here somewhere. But this NCO said, I can't go because I'm a conscientious objector. Well, first of all, we're not going to war. We're just going into a potentially dangerous area, but currently it wasn't a hot war or anything. It wasn't hot. We were just going down as observers, but we were carrying a live ammunition, and we were ordered to defend ourselves if attacked and stuff like that. So obviously we were, you know, it's kind of lukewarm, let's say. So he says, I can't go. And we all asked him, you know, like, why can't you go? Why, you know, what's going on? I'm a Muslim, so I can't go. That was his excuse. I don't know how to explain how infuriated I was to hear this come from one of the NCOs in that company. I was flabbergasted by the command that they allowed him to skate out of this unheard. Basically, they just transferred him to another company, and he was able to stay in Berlin while we got deployed. And this is what there's a lot of things about the Army that I don't understand. You know, I'm not a genius. But first of all, why do you join the Army if you're a conscientious objector? If your faith will not allow you to do what your job is requiring of you, get a different job. I felt like he was a coward. Not that it had nothing to do with his faith, had nothing to do with him being a conscientious objector. He was afraid. So he made up some BS story. Or it might have been a real story, but either way, don't be in a combat unit if you can't go to combat. Be a truck driver. Even truck drivers have to carry a rifle, you know, so maybe just get out of the Army. If I was his commander, and I'm not, and I don't know what kind of limitations the commander had on him, you know, what rules prevented him from acting. But if I was free to act, I would have kicked him out of the Army. If I couldn't kick him out of the Army, I would have made it so that he was unable to re-enlist. If I couldn't make it so he was unable to re-enlist, I would demote him or prevent him from getting promoted or something permanent. Something permanent. Because I don't abide cowardice. Now back up. If I was his commander, and when he came to the unit, or when I came to the unit, we had previously had a discussion about this, like, I'm in the unit, I just recently found religion, I'm a Muslim, and I'd be like, okay, cool, you know, thank you for coming to me and sharing this. Does this prevent you from doing your job? At that point, the answer would be yes. I would be like, okay, let's work on getting you a transfer to some other posting that you could, you know, because I'd try to help the guy out. Be like, try to get you another posting that is something that you can do based on your newfound religion and all that, right? Okay. And I would have been accommodating to him. But if it didn't surface until after the word came out, oh, by the way, your company is being deployed. Oh, I can't go. Why? Because of these reasons. Boy, I would have just, I don't know. Firing squad? No, that's probably a little bit too much. Because it's kind of like desertion, right? It's kind of like desertion, but it's not really. So I don't know if that's always haunted me. Not haunted me, but I've always thought about him. And I thought about the Army allowing it to happen. And I say the Army when really it's just his commanders. I don't know what happened to him afterwards, because we went to Macedonia. We did our thing down there. You know, we went on patrols. We had observation posts set up on certain mountaintops and stuff, and we reported in on what we saw, and we never did get shot at. Well, that's not really true. I got a story about us getting shot at. It was not intentional, but there was and nobody was really in danger. But there is a time when tracers were going over my head, and I was like, "Are we being attacked? What's going on here?" It's actually funny, but yeah. So that's always bothered me, that when we got back from Macedonia, my point is, when we got back, I don't think I remember seeing him. So maybe they did take some action, and I really didn't pay attention to that kind of stuff at the time. You know, I was too worried about getting home, getting myself situated, and phasing back into the Berlin Brigade as it was drawing down. But I don't think I remember seeing him when we got back. Okay, so here's the story. So we're in Macedonia. We've got our little compound. I guess they put us up in a university, a college that had been shut down or something. It was basically just concrete buildings they put us in. We had to bring our own cots and stuff. But that was fine. It was comfortable. And our outposts were connexes. You know, they were basically, big, huge shipping containers. That was our sleeping quarters out on these observation posts. But so we're at this compound, and we have guard posts. We have these towers that we built. I didn't build them. The engineers, I guess, built them, but they were wooden. You know, they reminded me of World War II guard towers. You know, there were these giant guard towers. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and put some texture on this guy. He's not done being painted, but since I got the texture out and I've already done his boots, let's go ahead and do it. This is one of the characters from a comic book series. I understand it's a comic book series, or a graphic novel, I guess is what you would call it nowadays. It's a German soldier. He's part of a group. And Offensive Miniatures does a miniature line for that comic book or whatever. They've got a number of characters. This one was sent to me as a free gift. and I'm going to paint it and put it up on eBay. So if anybody wanted it, it's basically a German Panzer Grenadier with a top hat instead of a. Well, he still has a helmet on his belt. Yeah, but he's wearing a top hat. I think that's unique. It's kind of cool. Okay, so instead of ruining my paint water, I'm just going to take this and put it in the garbage. Look at that. First time for everything. So we got these guard towers, and we weren't the only battalion there. There was another battalion on the other side of the mountain. There was like this, I wouldn't call it a mountain. It's a molehill. It was maybe 1,000 meters tall. It's not. I mean, I don't know. That's pretty high. I don't even know how tall it was. I mean, it wasn't a mountain, but it's this big hill. But they're on the other side of it. They were the Nordic battalion, so they were from Norway. We did have to go up there once to get some supplies or some equipment or something. I don't remember exactly. We drove some vehicles, some trucks up there. We loaded some boxes in. I was basically just muscle at the time. But what I did notice when I went to the Nordic battalion was half of that battalion, half of the people I saw walking around in that compound were females. Half of them. They were all blonde bombshells. They were all gorgeous. I was like, why can't I be in the Nordic battalion? Those girls were beautiful. But that's not the point. So I'm on guard. I'm in one of these guard towers. And then all of a sudden, from that hill, tracers come flying over our compound. Zing, zing, zing. And they're way up high, 1,000 meters up. But still, they're flying over our compound. And I radio in like, what the hell? What's going on? Are we under attack? What's happening? And they said, no, don't worry about it. The Nordic battalion is at the base of their hill shooting at targets. And those are ricochets going over the hill. And I'm like, that's dangerous. I mean, they could fall and like hit us or whatever. They said, don't worry about it. I'm like, okay. Apparently there were 50 cals firing over this hill. Okay. So I've got to let that dry before I can put any grass. They already look good. Okay, so in the meantime, while we're waiting, I've got these that I want to clean up, and I just figured I'd do it right now while we're chit-chatting and while I'm waiting for that to dry. I don't think today I'm gonna actually be able to do very much painting per se, because I need to get those 4.5s and 5s in, and I don't want to worry about fixing my glasses today. Okay, so these are simple popsicle sticks, 3/4 inch by 6 inch popsicle sticks. And that's how I do my painting. I put some 3M double-sided tape, foam tape, because it's squishy. I put it on there, and you can see that these are only 10 millimeter squares. These things are like super small. And then all I have to do is peel it off. And then this popsicle stick is ready to go for another round. So if I wanted to start another group real quick, I could just put some more of that 3M and stick the figures on there. And that's how I spray and paint. I used to, for many years, I used to use a drop of Elmer's on the popsicle stick, and then I would paint the figure. And once the figure was painted, I would just pop them off the Elmer's glue. And then what that would wind up doing is it would leave a considerable amount of Elmer's glue residue on the popsicle stick. And I would then later have to take like an X-Acto knife and scrape off whatever residue was. And so that's a nightmare. That scraping, because I don't want to waste the popsicle stick. I don't want to use the popsicle stick like I did with that brush. I don't want to use it and then throw it away. And then one day I was watching a guy a couple of years ago. He said one of the best things he discovered was this 3M double-sided tape. There are people out there that I've seen do this that I definitely do not want to do, is they would take like a medicine bottle or a paint bottle or, something like this. They would put some tack on there, and then they would stick their figure on the tack. That's great for a figure like that, a giant figure, that's no problem. But for little 15 millimeter figures, that doesn't work for me. So I do the popsicle stick with Elmer's glue. And then I see this guy use this 3M tape. And what he would use it for is things like that. He would put a 3M tape on that, and then he would take this figure and he would go. That way you can hold on to something while you're painting. I don't really have a problem with that. I just hold on to the base. But, yeah. But I can see people, and they even make, like I know Games Workshop makes these figure holders that you can, it's got like a spring-loaded clamp. So you put your figure in there and it goes, and then it holds on to it. But those things cost like $1 million, and you only get one, so you're only doing one figure. No, when I paint 28s, I'm usually doing like 70 of them at a time. And when I'm painting 15s, that's, what is that? That's almost 100. It's 96 figures I just did. Yeah, it's 4 shy of 100. So I don't have 100 little bottles, and even if I did, I wouldn't put a 15 millimeter figure on it. This is just way easier. So I thought, okay, let me get the 3M double-sided tape, and then I tried it, and it works great. It even holds 28 millimeter figures, because there's a bunch of 28s, like cavalry and stuff. I'll put them on popsicle sticks as well. Now, he said they were reusable, and that would be true if the figure, like if I put like one of these squares on this, and then I stuck this guy on top of it, that would cover the tape completely. But you can see that this tape is not covered completely, and there's not really enough left for it to grip a second figure. And I don't think it's cost effective to worry about it. I just peel it off and reuse the popsicle sticks. The 3M tape is really not that expensive. And I'm getting pretty low on my 3M tape. But you see, this is like 20 millimeters wide, or 3/4 of an inch. And then what I'll do is an all X-Acto knife. Once I lay it out, I cut it in half to make a 10 millimeter square. Because that's all you need for a 15 millimeter figure. You probably don't even need that much. Now I thought about getting a 10 millimeter roll and then I wouldn't have to cut it in half. But I looked at it and I was like, that costs more per figure. You know, because I look at it like, okay, if I have a 10 millimeter roll and I have 1 foot, just hypothetically, let's just say I cut 1 foot squares, 1 inch squares, that gives me 12, right? 12 little squares. Where if I've got a 20 millimeter and I've got 1 foot, that gives me twice as many figures, right? But I look at the price and it's not twice as expensive. So it's more cost effective to get the wider one and then just cut it in half. Yeah, I'm all about the numbers. All about the numbers. Okay, so because I don't have my glasses, I thought about I got some figures that I could just prepare, you know, trim them up and clean them up in the soap and water, you know, because I'm not going to be painting them. I've got a ton of miniatures that still need to be washed, so I could be doing that. Okay, so all of the French battalions, key. All of the French battalions in Quatre Bras, not Waterloo, 100% of all the infantry battalions, not the cavalry, have been broken down into their respective battalions. I laid all the figures out. I broke them down into 24 figure battalions, and well, actually 2 of them are 16 figure battalions. Got all the standards out, got all the musicians out, got all the officers, voltigeurs, grenadiers, you know, light battalions, line battalions. I separated them all, and then I put each battalion in. Now I only did this with the French. I put each battalion in its own little bitty Ziploc bag. So I've got these Ziploc bags that are about this big. So I put each battalion in a Ziploc bag with a little label that says what battalion it is. So if I ever needed to paint some more, I could just go out and just say, okay, I'm going to paint this battalion, and then they're already separated. All I have to do is clean them up and go, you know. Now, I need to do the same with the British. I've already done the same with the Hanover battalions. I broke all the Hanover battalions and put them in their little Ziplocs. Okay, that was nice and clean. The Cav, I don't necessarily need to do that because the Cav bags come with 16 figures, except for the Guard. The Guard come with 8 figures, I think. Something like that. They're half a bag, basically. The Guards are half a bag. But basically, when I go to paint a Cav unit, it's pretty much 1 bag per unit with some extra figures laying around. Now, I've considered, instead of making 12 figure battalions for Cav, I considered using the whole bag, making 16. Make them all large battalions, and then if I ever need to, you know, because then they'll be ready if I ever need to make large battalions. Because when I played Napoleon's battles, I made 16-figure cav brigades, and 24-figure infantry brigades, whether or not it was large or small. It didn't matter. I always made 24-figure brigades. But in the scenarios that I played, some of them would be 20-figure brigades, so you just pull the standoff, and some would be 28-figure brigades, so you would just take that figure you pulled off from one of those other battalions or brigades, and you'd put it on the other brigade. So basically, rob Peter to pay Paul kind of thing. So I've considered doing the cav that way as well, but I don't foresee needing to do that. I foresee maybe bagging them up and selling them, because there's people out there that might just need 4 figures, you know, to flesh out a battalion they're working on or something. And because I don't plan to ever use them, I could sell them for dirt cheap, because it's pretty much just, you know, just getting rid of them, really. Like $4. You can get 4 cab figs for $4. You know, something crazy like that. Because what is the cost? Like $21 for a... no, it's $18. $21, $18. I think it's $18 for infantry, and I think it's $21 for their cavalry. I'm trying to remember. This Old Glory. So let's just say it's 21. And you get 16 figures. Usually you get 2 command elements in a bag. So technically you could make 2 8-figure units. But I just take one of those command elements out, and that is sometimes a big benefit for somebody, to be able to just buy a command element, you know, for their unit. So like a 4-figure or 2, 3, maybe a 3-figure command element, and then a 1, you know, trooper. Something like that. Also, I've got a ton of 10 millimeter. Yeah, I bought a bunch of, what are they, dragon miniatures or whatever, the 10 millimeter. Also, Militarium. I keep forgetting that company's name, but I ordered a bunch of 10 millimeter from 3 different companies. 4 different companies? Maybe even 4 different companies. And I don't ever plan to use them. I got a big box of them over there. Probably about $200 or $300 worth. They were all kind of... I was planning on doing Quatre Bras in 10 millimeter. Doing the whole thing in 10 millimeter. Making really small bases. And kind of going in the vein of the Etzens resultants rule system kind of going in that direction. But then once I started getting into that set of rules, it just seems like it's overly complicated. It doesn't need to be as complicated as it is. So I decided to write my own set of rules, battalion level, and I decided to go with what I know, 15 millimeter. Because I wanted enough room on the table to play a game, and 28 millimeter, you don't have enough room unless you got a really large table or you're playing a very small battle. And I'm trying to get a core or two on each side in my set of rules. Okay. These are all clean. They are ready to be used in my next. This is another thing. My wife bought me this little. There we go. Focus. My wife bought me this little spinner to keep my paintbrushes in, which wasn't needed because I had 2 jars, but 2 jars, 1 spinner. I don't know. It's about the same amount of space. It just sticks out too far. If it was one of those like office organizers that was flat against the wall, that would be really cool. But then again, she was thinking about me. Okay, is that dry? Of course it's not dry. Dang. Come on, Mr. Everything. Okay, so, So this is the flock that I'm going to use on these. I've decided to use the 2.5 inch, 2.5 millimeter, thank you, instead of the 2 millimeter. This might be just a little bit too long, but that says burnt grass. We know it's not. It's this. It's this spring meadow, which is my favorite color. And I've got a lot of this 2.5. I've been using the 2.5 on my terrain and bigger items like limbers and artillery. You know, that's probably what I'm going to do next, is the Allied limbers and artillery. Okay. So let me move my camera a little bit. Okay, what am I going to do here? Yep, that can go over there. Order battled Waterloo. There we go. Look at that. Okay. Is that in a good spot? Yeah, I can't really see it, but that's okay. Yeah, because if I do this, yeah, it gets all in the way of everything. Okay. All right, so 92nd. 93rd. Okay, these are the 4 battalions I just have on the table here. I consider them finished, even though I haven't put the grass on them yet. Okay, so yeah, don't worry about this little color change on these. I was doing it as I was bagging them up to make sure that which ones I had bagged and which ones I didn't, but I wound up bagging them all. So I did. So it doesn't really matter. I've got the 216s bagged up, and then all these 24 figure battalions are all bagged up. And these cavalry units, like the chasseurs, let's just use that as an example. I only got 8 figures in a bag, so with 3 bags, I was able to get all uh, 24 figures. Same thing with the lancers. They only come 8 figures because they're guard, I guess. But these guys, they come in 16 figure bags. And so I'm going to have extras of the cuirassiers and the dragoons. There's a couple of artillery pieces I haven't done, but all the limbers are done. All the generals are done. All right, and this is like a complete brigade. It's the only French brigade that's complete. Well, this brigade's almost complete. It just... Actually, this division's almost complete. It just needs that artillery piece. Okay, but over here on the Allied side, I don't have any of the Dutch Belgians done, right? I've got Nassau. I still have a couple more battalions in Nassau. I got the Dutch Belgian cavalry. I have the light field battalions of the Hanover finished. I don't have any of the Landwehr finished. And the British, I've got this brigade, Halkett's brigades complete. Don't have any of the guards, and I don't have any of the I've got a few. I got the Highlanders finished, and I also have the 95th Rifles. So East Sussex, Royal Scots, North Gloucester, I do have them bagged because those guys are using the stovepipes. But I already have them bagged up, ready to go. The Guard are still in their original packaging. The infantry, like British infantry, there's really only one left. Well, there's 3. Okay, there's 3 left. Okay, good. I don't have any Brunswick infantry done. That's got none of that. But I think that's going to be fairly easy. That's just going to be black primer, and then I'm done. Actually, I was thinking I would do a black primer with a dark gray dry brush over the entire unit. And then... Okay. Somebody needed to get somewhere in a hurry. Dark gray dry brush. The only one that might be a little different is the Avant-Garde. They are kind of in a lighter gray, a light gray. So maybe I'll prime them black and then paint their uniforms a lighter gray. Maybe using a blending method, building it up from the dark. I don't know. I'm considering that. I really wish I did this York battalion at the same time that I did these 3 battalions, because York is also green. I didn't realize it. The York is not really York, it's Osnabrück. So Osnabrück is the Duke of York's battalion. So it could be named either way, York or Osnabrück. Yeah, so this 5th Division should have Vinky as the brigade, Vinky's brigade, which I think is the 6th brigade. I don't remember what the number is, but I think it's Vinky. And when I did the when I did Quatre Bras in 28 millimeter, I did Vinky's brigade, and then I later learned that Vinky was not there. Best was there. Best was like an alternate. Best was attached at the time of Quatre Bras. Best is actually in another division, but he was assigned a Picton for Quatre Bras, and Vinky, I don't know what the hell was going on, but they're Landwehr anyway, and so it's no big deal. But yeah, so Best is the one that needs to be done. But my thing is, I don't have any, like 0 Allied artillery. You see 0 Allied artillery. I could do Royal Artillery and KGL at the same time. I could do Hanover at the same time as Royal Artillery. Because why? They use the same uniform. KGL, Hanover, Royal Artillery, exact same uniform. So I could do these 6 guns, no problem. But the Dutch and the Belgian, like I think this one's Belgian, I think this one's Dutch, I don't remember. But one of these is a Dutch artillery and one is a Belgian artillery. I have those crews and guns. Brunswick, I've got those crews and guns for the foot and the horse. But see, now there's a couple of Belgian limbers and a couple of Dutch Belgian limbers. I have additional British limbers. I didn't find any. Now, with the Dutch Belgian limbers, that would be no problem because they'll look exactly the same. But the Brunswick limbers should have the riders on the horse train or the limber itself should be wearing a hussar uniform, and I don't have any additional Brunswick hussars, and I'm not going to buy a bag of hussars just for that purpose. I could, because I need Butler and I need Spec to be hussar officers, and then I need like 4, because there's 2 limbers, right? And there's 2 drivers or 2 figures per limber. So only for looks. You don't actually have to have any drivers. You could just have the horses and the limber itself, which is probably what I'm going to do. I'm just going to do horses and limbers for the 2 Brunswick limbers, and then later down the line, if I ever find or get a couple of Brunswick hussars, I can always paint them up and then just glue them on the horses. But that's going to be an afterthought. Yeah, so I'm thinking about doing these 6 artillery pieces, and then maybe I can do all of these artillery pieces and limbers all at once. I just have to be conscious of which unit I'm painting when I'm painting it. It won't be too hard because these guys should be pretty much the same. What'd you get?
Power supply.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Which strength?
750.
750. Yeah. Is that a modular one?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so that's the same one that I've got.
I've got some fans and
A mouse pad.
yeah.
Yeah, that 750. It's got cables that plug into the, and then so you don't need to have extra cables.
Yeah, you don't
when
need
you-
all of them. Yeah.
Okay, so now I kind of wanted. Okay, now if you see there's already a red block filled in. That's because very early on a year ago or whatever, I did a trial run on some skirmishers, uh, some of the elite light units, and what I did was I tried them on different bases and stuff like that. And then once I settled on these bases, I took all those figures that I had already painted and mounted them on bases. So like I already have that base finished. So basically these bases are already finished. So when I go to do these units, basically I'll have one less base to do. There should be one down here. Yep, the Verdun. Um, yeah. I've got these guys bagged up, but not individually battalion, just in a solid bag. And then these guys are two different cavalry bags, and I've already got them finished, but I don't have any of them. Yeah, I'm just trying to debate on which ones I want to do. I think I just want to do all the allied artillery. I could probably throw these guns in as well. Why do I have two? Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, in my rule set, two guns represents a battery. Okay, so that's two bases of artillery. So there's going to be a gun there with crew and a gun there with crew. So I'll need a total of 8 guns. Okay, so I might just do the British because that's going to be a bunch of guns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's going to be 12 guns. 12. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I could do 20 guns. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. Okay, so when I get off camera, what I'm going to do is I'm going to organize these, wash them, because I wash with soap and water, glue them, or, glue the guns together, and then organize the troops and put them on popsicle sticks. Same thing, I could probably do the limbers all at once too. I want to knock all that out in one go. I think I'm going to do that. I don't need any more English limbers because I've got 6, and there's the 6 batteries of English. The Dutch Belgians have one there and one there. And then the Brunswick have one there and one there. That's 4 limbers. I don't think Merlin has artillery. Yeah. I think these guns are part of Perponcher's division, and so he might share. But I don't think he's got any horse artillery. He might, but I'm not worried about it. Yeah. Okay. So really, I'm pretty much in an impasse right now. I'm waiting for this to dry before I apply this, and if I go off camera to go clean or organize my artillery, well, let me do this. Let me go grab the artillery, bring it over here, and then we can see what I actually have. Okay. While this continues to dry off camera. Give me a second. Let me move this over here. Let me put that over here. Because I got to organize it anyway, so why don't I just do it now? And I want to finish painting that one figure too, that one guy with the top hat. But I'm not going to do any painting until tomorrow when I get my glasses. Okay, so give me a second. I will be right back. I'm going to go grab some figures. And I'll be right back. Bear with me. guys. I'm going to take a 2-minute break. I'm going to go use the bathroom. I got to pee. That monster just went through me. Back. Okay. Okay. So let me get this off the screen. Okay. So this is my British and these are my allies. And you can see I put them like these are my battalion bags. Like that's the Verdun. Yeah. Each one of these is a battalion of figures. Let me get these out. I'm basically getting these out of the way. These are British and Hanover figures. Okay, just extra. There's the 28. That should be over there, right? Okay. And then this, my Brunswick, still in the original packaging, so that's that. Dragoons and Hussars, the Dutch Belgians, right? Okay. The additional Nassau, Nassau troops. Okay, there's a couple of Brunswick Uhlans. Yeah, but that's not what I need. I don't need Uhlans. I need Hussars. Okay. And then this is a command pack for Prussia. And then there's one Brunswick standard bearer. Okay. And here's the Dutch-Belgian line militia and Jaegers. Okay, so no artillery pieces are in, no crew or anything is in this. Okay. That's all troops. Must have put them all in there. Yes, that weighs a ton. Okay. Let's see what we got in here. Okay. This is definitely guns. And more guns. And more guns. Okay. 9-pounders. 6-pounders. And then there's these guys. Which... okay. Okay. British infantry. Light dragoons. Not some of this stuff is not used. I just acquired them. Okay, this is artillery, guns, and crew and limbers. Okay, good. British Generals, Wellington, etc. The Guard. And some odds and ends. Foot and flankers. Okay. So it looks like okay, so this is a pack of Blue Moon British limbers. There are 6 limbers in there. No horses, just limbers. I don't know if I'm going to be able to use those. I don't know. I got them because they were like on clearance. It was on sale or something like that. But here we go. We got some... these look like British. They're definitely limbers. Horse and crew. 1, 2, 3. At least 3 limbers in there. How many limbers do I need? 1, 2, 3, 4. I really only need 4 limbers. Okay, I think that's 3. And I think that is 3 more limbers. So there's 6 additional limbers. Which is good because even though that's more than I need for Quatre Bras, I'm eventually going to need more if I plan to do other battles like Waterloo or whatever. Okay. So I don't plan to use these until necessary. Okay. Brunswick Horse Artillery Crew. Brunswick Foot Artillery Crew. Dutch Foot Artillery Crew. Dutch Horse Artillery Crew. British Horse Artillery Crew. British Foot Artillery Guns and Crew. Wow. Okay. And I don't know where the crew went. Oh, right here. This crew was from these guns. Got it. Okay. Now one of these missing a wheel. We can worry about that. I'm just trying to organize right now. it is kind of hard to tell which one's a 6 and which one's a 9. On these guys. I'm not sure if any of them are 9s. I think these are all 6s. Yeah. Ooh, that one's... Yeah, these are all... Gotta be all 6s. But like, that one looks thicker. It's hard to tell. And these two look longer. They might be 9s. And I actually have a couple of howitzers. Okay. Which I'm just going to intermix with some of the foot units. Just to make it, just to flesh it out. Okay, so if I look at that, they all need to be 9-pounders. Yeah, so I'm just gonna make the artillery, and we can just call them 9-pounders because I only have like 2 actual 9-pounders, and well, these guys might also be 9-pounders, but I don't think I've got 6 in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe I do. Okay, hold on. Maybe there are 6 guns. Maybe these are all 6s. One, 2, 3. Howitzer. There are 6 guns, but they're not all 9-pounders. Yeah, some of these are 6, some of these are 9. I can see that already. There's the howitzer. But if this is a 6, and this is a 9, yeah. You can intermix because let's take a look here. I'm gonna see if I can bring this up. Let's see if yeah, like Lloyd's. Okay, so let me show you this. Okay, I don't know if you can see it, but yeah, like Lloyd's battery, Royal Artillery, and Cleve's battery. If you come across, there are 5 9-pounders, but there's also a howitzer. There's 5 9-pounders and a howitzer. If you were to look at 1st Division, you got 9-pounders and howitzers. The Netherlands is using 6 and 24-pounders, but I would just mark them as 6-pounders, right? Yeah, those are the 2 I'm doing, Stuvenart and Blitzgeveld or whatever. Let me scroll. Okay, 5th Division. Rogers. See, it doesn't say. Okay, that one doesn't say for some reason. But if you get an idea, you're looking at 9-pounders and howitzers. Brunswickers doesn't say. I think it's 6-pounders anyway. Okay, What? Okay, we already know Lloyd and Cleve. Yeah, 6 and 24. Doesn't say. Okay, so a lot of the batteries are mixed anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And when I put the guns out, it really won't matter. But I would like to have at least 3 9-pounders. Only got these. These are 9-pounders, but these 9-pounders look a lot thinner than these. See, so I don't think it really matters. I don't think you will ever... Yep, it only gives you 2 9-pounders. A bunch of 6-pounders. Okay. So basically I'll just have a British artillery piece out there. It'll actually physically be a 6-pounder, but we'll just call it a 9-pounder. We'll just say that's actually a 9-pounder. Because these guns look bigger than this 9-pounder. This is a minifig 9-pounder. Right? I got 2 9-pounders. And that gun, okay, it does look longer than that one, but it doesn't look thicker. And that 6-pounder, well, hell, that 6-pounder right there looks as long as that 9-pounder. I don't even think they're different. Then again, this 9-pounder is a little bit longer. Yep, that 9-pounder is actually a little bit longer. Okay, well, we'll count them. We'll do 2 9-pounders here, 2 9-pounders there. That's 4 9-pounders. That'll be... I only really need 3, but I'm going to put all 4 of them together. But one for each of the divisions. Yeah, like 1, 2. Well, if I did it, I would need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I would need 6. We only have 4. But I got a ton of guns. They're just not all the right ones. So I'll just put some 6-pounders together and base them up as 6-pounders and everything, but we'll just put them into these groups. Okay. Don't plan to use this. These are the limbers. Yeah, I don't know if I want to overtax myself with too much work. So I think I'm going to not do the limbers. I'm just going to do the artillery pieces. And these are all foot. And I like putting either 3 or 4 figures on a base. Now, how many foot units do I have that I need to do? Because, see, Coolman there is actually horse. But Lloyd, Cleve, Braun, Rogers, and Sandman are all foot. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I need 10 bases of foot. I don't think I'm going to have that. Okay. I have a ton of horse. Okay. Let's count figures instead of trying to pair them up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. 24 foot. And I need 10. I need Sandman, Rogers, Lloyd. No, only 8, right? 1. Oh, yeah, Braun, too. Oh, okay. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, 1, 2. I can do 8 3-figure bases. That would not be enough, right? Unless because that KGL is horse. I was wondering maybe this KGL is horse as well. Or maybe that Braun is horse. I'm going to have to do a little research. This Hanoverian specifically says foot. But like Rogers doesn't. And see, that says Royal Horse Artillery. So when it says Royal Artillery, I just assume it's foot. But that's not like Royal Howitzers. Yeah, it's Royal Horse. Okay, hold on. Just Royal Artillery. It doesn't. That one does say horse. See? KGL horse. What is that? King's German Legion Field Artillery? Is that what that is? But see, that's okay. So maybe that's or foot artillery. I don't know. Those don't matter because I've already got them figured out. Yeah, Ron is horse, yeah. No, foot. Yeah, RHA, is that Royal Horse Artillery? Is that what I'm looking at? Okay, so I'm going to go through a different source. There we go. See, and there's the foot artillery. That's Lloyd, Sandman, Rogers. Those are the only 3 foot. And then horse. I don't recognize those. Okay, let me try something else. Let me try it a different way. Organization charts. Sandman's Company. Royal Foot Artillery. Yep. And then KGL Horse. Okay. Foot and horse for 1st Division. Third Division. Is that Picton? Or is he 5th? Yeah, he's 5th. He's not there. Okay. That's not what I wanted. There we go. Nope. Is it reserves? It is. Okay. Picton. Yep. Rogers. Foot. Foot. Okay. 9 Manners howitzer. Right. Okay, I'm a little confused. Hang on. So 3rd Division is there. Lloyd and Cleves.
Yeah, this one's just like so much better because you only need the 4 things.
Yeah, you just need the hard drive, the main one for the motherboard.
Yeah, the PCI, the 24 pin, the drives, and the GP and the PCIe.
Yeah.
And that's all you need.
Yep.
It comes with another CPU cable. Are some motherboards like dual CPU?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so 3rd Division is there. It is Lloyd's. Which is foot. Okay, so I have it all marked correctly, it looks like. Yeah, those guys are all foot. So that should only be 5 batteries of foot. So I can only do 4. Okay, so I guess I'm going to be proxying some, and that's if I go with 3. And then this way I could do 4 9-pounders, 1 for each of these. The rest could be 6-pounders or howitzers. Howitzers probably would be best. I'm going to have 3 howitzers, this one and those. And then a 6-pounder. Or since I've got so many 6-pounders, I could just plop a 6-pounder in there and not worry about these howitzers. Because I really don't want to deal with howitzers. I don't really care about them. They just don't look good on the table. Okay, so I can do, and these guys, some of these look like they could be 9-pounders. So, like this whole front rank looks like they could be 9-pounders. So that's probably what I'll do. That'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I would have 8 9-pounders. But I think I'm only going to do 4 9-pounders, 4 6-pounders. That'll be the first 2 divisions. The next division is supposed to be foot and horse. But what I think I'm going to do is just do 2 horse. Well, hold on. This is 2 guns, which is 1 battery. And 2 batteries equals the division. Okay. Just trying to wrap my head around this. And then I'm not worried about the Dutch and the Brunswick because I've got way more than enough crew for them. It's the British that I'm struggling with. So I'll just do I'm going to have to do a bunch of horse, and we'll just proxy them in as foot. It doesn't really matter. They'll be the wrong uniforms and stuff, and I'm kind of anal about that. But I guess when I get ready to order for the second wave, which would be Waterloo, because I'm doing Quatre Bras only. But when I get ready to order for Waterloo, I'll be sure to order more foot. And then I'll take those new foot and swap them out. I could probably just order another bag of foot and swap it out. But temporarily, before that, I'm gonna paint up some horse. I'm gonna paint up some foot, and then we'll just I'll just temporarily proxy them. But eventually they'll get swapped out. I'm thinking that's what I'm gonna do. 9, 9. Well, I got 4 9s right there if I don't put these together. So, just hypothetically, 9s. Sixes. I'm going to need to glue some more guns together because because you're like first battery of 1st Division, second battery of 1st Division, first battery of 5th Division, second battery of 5th Division, and then you got 6th Division, which is the Royal Artillery, and then the Horse Artillery. These all have to be washed. Just took them out of the bag. Yeah, I was going to use some of these guns for Brunswick as well. And Dutch. Okay. So. Oh my gosh, I might not have enough guns. Okay. So, and I thought I had too many guns. Okay, let's work backwards. Dutch, Belgian. Okay. Done. Dutch, Belgians. Done. Brunswick. Brunswick. Done. Right? Am I confused? Yeah. That's not right. Fuß should be foot. And Retende should be horse, right? I think that's backwards. But that says foot. 6-pounders. 6-pounders. Okay, that's fine. But Brunswick, Dutch. Okay, that's a lot of guns out of the way. I got nothing for British. Oh my gosh, I'm going to have to order some new guns probably. I'll order another pack of foot. That way I'll have enough foot figures and it'll give me crap. Okay, so I've already pretty much made my mind up. I am not going to do the British. I will do the Brunswick and the Dutch. I'll get them knocked out. But I need another bag of British foot because 2 9s, 1 division, 2 divisions. Because the 9s will be paired up with 6-pounders and 6-pounders. So that's 2 divisions. 2 9s, 2 6s. 2 9s, 2 6s. Now the 3rd division should have 1 foot, 1 horse. But I've only got 3. So I could always throw in a howitzer. Oh wait, I got these guys. So, no, like I said, no, that's right. No, I don't have 3. Those 2 go right there. I've got 1. Yeah, so I can always throw in a howitzer, intermix a howitzer in somewhere, like maybe up there. And then that'll give me 4 6s. These 2 plus these 2. Okay, so all the British guns. Oh, wait, I'm confused. If I buy another pack of foot, I'll have enough guns. because I could do just all 6s. I would have enough guns if I just did all 6s. I just won't have enough crew members. Crap. And these 9s don't look very big. I'm ashamed of those 9s. They look, the minifig 9s look like 6s. So, hypothetically, let's say I order another pack of these, right? Just duplicate this pack. And pretend like I don't have these. Okay. These are all good still for the Brunswick, Dutch, because you got a Dutch foot, Dutch horse, Brunswick foot, Brunswick horse. Yeah, that's these 8 guns. Okay, so that's those. I got way more than enough horse artillery piece, horse crew. Don't even have to worry about that. Got tons of that. Because apparently I only need 1. I know you guys are out here. Yeah, apparently I only need 1 horse artillery for the British. And I've got a whole pack of that. So if I order a second pack of this, just going to try to visualize this. That will give me 2 more 9-pounders. Okay. So I'll have first, First Division 9-pounder, First Division 6-pounder, 3rd Division, no wait, there's, yeah, 1st Division 9-pounder, 1st Division 6-pounder. Okay, so that's only 1 division. And if I go with 4 figures, which is really what I wanted to do, 3 and 4. So let's go with 7 because I mix them up, 3 and 4. Okay. 3 and 4. 3 and 4. Okay. That's 1st Division. That would also be 5th Division. 2nd bag would be another division. Okay. With some figures remaining, some guns remaining. I could use these 9-pounders for the 1st, 3rd, and 5th Division. So 5th Division, 2 9-pounders, 1 for each of the brigade, 1 for each of the batteries, and then a 6-pounder that I already have right here, without duplicating. I can do 7 foot, and then that 3rd battery should be horse. So I got that. That's no problem. So 2nd bag, current. Yeah, I need a bag of foot, and that would solve all of my gun problems. Yep. Okay. So the Brunswick are all 6. Now let's make sure that the let's make sure that the is it First Army Corps? Is it the 3rd Dutch Belgian? Should be Perponchers, right? Okay. It's not them. Second. It is them. Okay. Yep, there's Bitch Lavelle 6-pounder howitzer. Yeah, I could put a howitzer with the Dutch. I don't actually need to do that if I buy another bag of foot. Yep, not going to do it. Not going to put the howitzer in. And I'm not going to do any of the foot artillery for the British until I get that next bag in. Okay. That pretty much solves that. We're not doing any British. You know what? I need to buy one more British bag. And I hate to order just one bag. So maybe I'll get some Prussians. Okay. Will that fit in there? No, doesn't need to. Okay, so we're not using these guys. Not using any of these guys. No limbers. I'm just going to do the Dutch and the Brunswick, and then call it a day, right? Okay. And I'm just going to give them all 6-pounders. That works. Okay. There is a foot and a horse and a foot and a horse, right? Or am I losing my mind? Yep. Bijleveld is the horse. And Stevenart is a foot. Yep, so I was right. Okay, so there's a foot and a horse. Now I wonder, you hear all that noise outside? Yep, they're blue. That looks Dutch. Could be Nassau, but Dutch Infantry Division. Whoa, what was this? 6-pounders. The battery was overpowered by the light lancers at Quatre Bras and used only 2 of its guns at Waterloo. Interesting. Little history. Okay. So I need to have at least 7 figures in each of these bags. If I have 8, that'd be cool. Or if I just have 6, that would be cool as well. Because I'm thinking I want to use 4 figures for heavier guns and 3 figures for lighter guns. Now these are all minifigs. Oh my gosh, I think I got 12. I got 12. Okay. So I got more than I need. And these guys are all super skinny. Brunswick foot. Okay. So I'm looking at poses. I don't know what he is doing. Okay. Boy, you can really hear them outside. They are loud as hell. Okay. So he's holding a shell. He looks like he's pushing a stick. Holding shells. Also pushing sticks. Also pushing sticks. Ramming rods. I think I'm only going to use these. Can't do any painting tonight on these anyway. Okay. Brunswick foot. I pulled 8 figures out, but I'm not sure if I'm going to use 8. I might just use 6. I'm really going to have to think about that. Okay. So while I'm thinking about that, let me go ahead and pull up my rules. Mounting figures. Yeah, 6 to 8 guns. Yeah, an artillery battery is approximately 1 gun. I'm sorry, 6 guns with crew. It just says with crew. Artillery, 1 gun plus 2 to 4 crew. Yeah, because I don't mind putting just 2 figures on an artillery base. That seems good. But the way I'm breaking my guns down is small, medium, and large, but that's numbers of bases. But then I have light and heavy artillery. Yep, light artillery is like a 6-pounder. And heavy artillery would be like a 9-pounder. So I was wondering, should I put two or 3 figures on a light gun and 3 and 4 figures on a heavy gun? It overlaps. So 3 could be on both. Or maybe that way it'll be easy to identify by looking down at the table. You say, oh, he's got 4 crew. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna put 6 figures of Brunswick foot because they're 6-pounders. If they were 9-pounders, I would put probably 4 figures on a stand. And because like 1 figure's a 9-pounder and 1 figure's a 6-pounder on some of them, that's where you get the 7 figures. The 4 and the 3, I think. So which 2 am I going to pull? I think I'm going to pull this guy and this guy. Okay. Okay, so that works it out. And plus that leaves me with enough figures that if I needed to do another battery, I would have enough figures to do another battery. Okay, there's my Brunswick foot. Okay, that's trash. Okay, Brunswick horse. Boy, I got on here at 1 o'clock. It's already 4. Okay. Those guys look like they're almost dry, if not already dry. Okay. Yep. And I'm gonna go Brunswick horse for this group. Also, now I've also considered doing like 2 figures for a horse battery and 3 figures for a foot battery, kind of like Napoleon's Battles does it. 2 and 3, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to do 3. Okay, I want 6 different figures. I don't know what the hell he is doing with whatever he is doing. He looks like he might be pushing on a wheel. This guy's got a stick that he's pushing. This guy is kneeling. Really? Okay, stick pushing, rolling wheels, lighting a fire, ramming a rod, kneeling. Good. I took 1 of everything. Okay. And they're not what do you call it? Broken or mismolded or anything. Okay. Okay, so Brunswick horse. Since I got him right there. Brunswick horse. All right, we're making progress. Okay, Dutch foot. These little Ziplocs don't want to open. Okay. Going to do exactly the same thing with these guys. Dutch foot. I'm just going to write it up right here. Dutch horse. Okay. Foot. Horse. Foot. Okay. What do we got here? lighting. I'm a little confused. These are not all the same. Okay, cool, cool, cool. Okay, ramming, not so ramming. Sticking. When I say stick, I mean he's maneuvering the gun. Sticking. Oh, there's a lighter. Lighter. Not so lighter. He's got a shell in his hand. He's got a shell in his hand. What is that guy doing? He looks like he might be pushing on a wheel or leaning on a wheel. Okay. Well, okay, we need one more. That's this guy. He's got his hand back, but it's just a pose. Okay. Nothing special. It's just a pose. This is Dutch foot. Man, when I wash these, I'm going to really have to pay attention. I'm going to have to separate them and wash them one group at a time because I don't want to get the uniforms mixed up. So I'll have 4 little washing. Means they should wash faster. Okay. And finally, the Dutch horse. Now, if they're obviously different uniforms, then I can wash them together. But if they're the similar uniforms, okay, the Dutch horse have these giant plumes. Okay. So they're pretty distinct. Okay, loading, loading. Reaching into a box, reaching into a box. Okay, ramrodding. Oh, what is this guy? Okay, standing with a ramrod. Okay. Lighting. And this guy looks like he might be trying to roll the wheel. Okay, got him separated. Got him separated. Okay. Alright guys, I think this is where we're going to call the video. What I'm going to do is wash these, clean them up a little bit as best I can with the glasses that I have, and I'd really like to do, I would really like to do the 4 limbers for the Dutch and the Brunswick, because they're the only ones that need limbers. But I think that's enough. So I won't do the limbers. Not just yet. Okay. Okay. So like I said, I'm going to go wash these soap and water, mount them on popsicle sticks. I might even prime them, but I just won't be able to start painting on them until I get my goggles. which is supposed to be tomorrow. So I guess that's where we're going to end the video for today. All right, guys, thanks for coming out and checking with me. I appreciate you hanging out with me today. And look forward to more videos over the weekend. Coming out, maybe recordings that I upload or maybe some live streams. Because, like I said, I've got the entire weekend. All right, so I will catch you in the next one. You guys have a good night.